Welcome to Thursday Night Football with Calvin Dean, sponsored by the NFL Network. We have week 2 upon us, people. Week 2, and what a schedule! I mean, last week, if you've been listening to me last week, you would have won some money because I did have the upset special of the week, and that was the Cincinnati Bengals. Yes, Cincinnati Bengals playing the Minnesota Vikings. Mr. Kurt non-vaccinated Cousins. And I predicted that win. If you would have bet on the Bengals, you would have won. You should have bet on the Bengals. And, it's going to be an interesting second week of the NFL because, mind you, we have the Los Angeles Rams with Matthew Stafford looking all-world. And they're going to be playing the Indianapolis Colts, and the Colts, they're just chomping at the bit. They lost last week, and they're just not too excited about losing. And the same thing with the Browns, and we're going to get into all that, Buffalo and all that good stuff. But it's all about tonight's game first. Let's talk about it. For number one, Dak Prescott, mind you, last week played out of his skin. He was just amazing. I thought Dak Prescott was just too good. He's on the all-world team of the Calvin Dean all-world team. Mr. Dak Prescott, he just entered it last week, and hats off to him and his whole entire cast around him. Then the game is all about tonight. It's in the same division of Dak Prescott. That's why I mentioned it. And you have the New York Football Giants with Mr. Daniel Jones, Barkley, Kenny Golladay, and friends, Shepard, and going into the Washington football teams in Washington, D.C. and playing them. Now, Mr. Fitzmagic is out for a few weeks. And man, I just feel sorry for the Washington football team. But you know what? They're persevering. They will turn around and they will win this game tonight. I'm giving this game to the Washington football team. I don't think the Giants are going to be able to handle the rush from the Washington football team. But I'm telling you something. Hear me out. I don't think it's going to be such a blowout. I think the Giants are going to come there and they're going to play. And I think Barkley's going to have a better game. And I think it's going to be like a 1 or 2 point game at the end. But the football, the Washington football team is going to win tonight's game. The next game, we have the Patriots going into the New York Jets, my brother's favorite team, the New York Jets. They just got him a New York Jets NFL shop jersey. Now, if you ever want to go to the NFL shop, and it's called NFLshop.com, and they have some great stuff there, people. And just mention the code word football from the Calvin Dean Show, and you will get special rates. I believe it's like 15% off on certain items on NFLshop.com. So go in that, and if you have a friend or family member, have a birthday or whatever, you can go there and get them something. And now, the New England Patriots, Mac Jones, Patriots. I mean, egging whose face? Mr. Belichick's face. Maybe it was egging his face for losing against the Miami Dolphins at home. Getting rid of Cam Newton. That could have been, something bad. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe it wasn't. I think Mac Jones is really good. I really think he's good, and I think that they're going to turn it around and they're going to beat the New York Jets at home in New York. New England has won 10 straight games against the New York Jets. 10 straight games. Now, in the Washington football team, now they have lost 4 straight games to the New York Giants. Now you have to think about that one too. So that game, that's why I think that game's going to be more exciting, and it's going to be closer than everyone thinks it's going to be. But this one with the Patriots, they're going to come to play, and they're going to beat the New York Jets by around 7 or 8 points on that one. Now, you have the new and improved Denver Broncos going into Jacksonville. Now, with Jacksonville, Urban Meyers, the all-time all-star coach, comes into Jacksonville and is teaching these kids how to play some football in Jacksonville. Now, he was a great coach in college, but he found out that this is not college. It just isn't college, people. It isn't, and he'll know. But now there's been talks of USC offering him a job to come back. After one game they lose, and they said, now there's all this talk. Urban Meyers is going to leave and go to USC, and I don't think that's going to happen. I just don't think that's going to happen. And Urban Meyers was asked this question today, and he completely unequivocally denied it, and he said that there's no way in hell he was going to go to USC. Not saying anything bad about the USC Trojans, but no, he's in it to win it at Jacksonville. I think they're like 2 or 3 years out before they start having a winning season. I think this year maybe 3 or 4 games they'll win. Next year maybe 7, and then the year after that, that's where I think the third year into Urban Meyer's pro career, that's when they're going to start winning. And watch out for them in 3 years, that's for sure. But I'm giving this game to the Broncos. Melvin Gordon looking all world. Teddy Bridgewater looking great. That defense is just stout. And the Jags' offensive line is going to be decimated by the Broncos. This is going to be annihilation. You guys. I'm sorry, but the Denver Broncos, they're just going to lose this game. They're going to lose it. And do you understand that Jacksonville has lost 16 straight games, the longest streak since Cleveland in 2016 and 17? 16 games they've lost in a row. And this is going to be their 17th great game. So they're going to win. They're going to have the longest losing streak in NFL history after this game. That's sad. Now, Buffalo, the next game is going to be an exciting game. The Buffalo Bills against the Dolphins. They're going to be going into Miami, mind you, and playing the Miami Dolphins, who just went up to Foxborough last week and beat the New England Patriots. Now, they beat a rookie quarterback. Yes, they did. But, look at Tua's, second year? Tua? Yeah. Hats off to the Dolphins in that one. That was surprising. That was a surprising game. But this is not going to be a surprising game. The Bills are going to come back with fury. They've won 5 straight against Miami, scored 30-plus points in each of one of those games. So it's going to be a high-scoring offensive showing by the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen. If you have anyone on the Bills, Singletary, Diggs, anyone, Josh Allen, start against the Miami Dolphins. Like I said, the last 5 games, Buffalo has scored over 30-plus points in each one of those 5 games, and they're going to have another 30-plus point showing here. I'm thinking 38, maybe 38, 24, 21. But that's the way it's going to be. It's going to be the Buffalo Bills over the Miami Dolphins in this game. And that game, go out and if you have any type of money in your bank, go out and bet it on the Bills on this one. That's a sure win right there. That's my lock win of the second week of the NFL season. The next game is going to be a tough one. You have the San Francisco 49ers, Nikki's Niners, my good friend up in San Francisco, she loves that team. And she asked me, she says, Cal, you think, Jimmy G is going to be starting. Is he going to be playing this year? And Jimmy G looks all world, doesn't he, guys? I mean, Jimmy G looks good. I mean, real good. And I don't know about Shanahan. He's mixing in with Trey Lance. I don't think Trey Lance is ready yet. They are in, the 49ers, Nicky's Niners, are in the best division in football. And Trey Lance will not win that division. I can guarantee you that. Trey Lance will not win in that division just yet. He's not ready. And I just don't, it's either or, with these coaches, these young coaches, they think, I'm going to be cute, and I'm going to throw in Justin Fields, I'm going to throw in Trey Lance, I'm going to throw in, and it's just, I think it's dissension because Jimmy G looked great, people. He looked really, really, really good. And that defense looked good, They let the team back in the game. And it wasn't Jimmy G's fault, was it? No, it wasn't. It was the defense. They just let the Lions back into that game. And they made it a lot closer than it was really. Hats off to Jared Goff on that one as well. But the Lions just didn't give up, so which is great. And I think the San Francisco 49ers, they loosened up near the end. I just, like I said, I don't. Jimmy G was asked this morning from one of the talk show, leading talk shows up in San Francisco, and he said, we're just living with it, we're just living with it, meaning Trey Lance coming in on certain plays. You could tell he wasn't too happy about it. I wouldn't either, honestly, because, I mean, you would you do that to Dak Prescott? No. Would you do that to, Aaron Rodgers? No. The GOAT? No. Lamar Jackson? No. Mr. Mahomes? No. I mean, think about it. Jimmy G's brought your team to the Super Bowl. And plus, when he's healthy, he's all world. So I think that's a Shanahan misstep. Now, they're going to be playing the Eagles. And Mr. Jalen Hurts was all world last week, wasn't he? Oh, my God. What a surprising game. Philadelphia, against San Francisco has scored 21-plus points in the last 11 straight games against San Francisco. Think about that now. 21-plus points against San Francisco in the last 11 games. Wow. I mean, that's something to think about, people, in this one. And Nicky's Niners, you got to really play tough. I think they're going to play tough in this game. I think Jimmy G's going to have another great game. I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to have such a great game because the San Francisco 49ers are a really good defensive team. And I think the defensive Niners are going to come through this game. They're going to somewhat shut him down, Philadelphia Eagles down with Jalen Hurts. I think they'll shut him down a little bit, not a lot. I think it'll be like a 28-22 game, and the 49ers, Nicky Niners, over the Philadelphia Eagles in this game. We have the next game. We're looking at the Los Angeles Rams against the Indianapolis Colts, and Indianapolis is 5-0 in games following a loss in 2020. Think about that. They're 5-0 after a loss in 2020. Now, that means that the Rams have, they have their cut, they have everything cut out. I mean, think about it. The Rams got a great defense, but will that offense step up like they did on Sunday Night Football against the Chicago Bears? Will they step up? Now, the Indianapolis Colts defense is much better than the Chicago Bears. Much better. And sometimes teams like the Rams, when they went into, their SoFi Stadium and they just rolled on the Chicago Bears, sometimes they have a tendency in the next game to relax and not play as well. And I just think Then the Indianapolis Colts, like I said, they were 5-0 in following losses last year. They won the next game, from 2020. That's pretty big, and they have a very similar team. Carson Wentz is back. I think the Colts are going to upset the Rams in this game. Don't hate me, Rams fans, but I think the Colts are going to be at home. I think they're going to. Now, mind you, Matthew Stafford's a dome quarterback. They've been a dome quarterback most of his life, and 9 years of a dome quarterback. So he's really familiar with dome stadiums. So I think he's going to do well. I think this will be my upset special of the week: the Indianapolis Colts over the Los Angeles Rams. And like I said, don't hate me, people in Los Angeles, but I think we're going to suffer our first loss of the year because this is going to be a tough game. I really do. I think the Colts are going to take this game. The next game is the Las Vegas Raiders, who beat the Baltimore Ravens and Monday Night Football, and then did they come back and they just played their hearts out and won in overtime, and Lamar Jackson, that's why he's so great. He has, his three top running backs got hurt. You just think of any team, your three top running backs getting hurt. Think about that one. Think about if Tennessee, Henry, and all the second string and the third string quarterback, on running backs, they all got hurt. Think how they would play. Think about that. And then Mr. Lamar Jackson played out of his mind in that game, and he lost barely in overtime against the Las Vegas Raiders. A very good Las Vegas Raiders team. Now, the last 6 of 8 matchups have been decided by 3 points or fewer between these two teams. So it's going to be a very, very tight game. I think the Las Vegas Raiders are going to win this game. I think it's going to be very tight. I think they're going to win at the last second, and they're going to pull the upset over the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to lose their first game of this year. And I think the Las Vegas Raiders are going to go 2-0. They're going to be tough this year, guys. Tough, very tough. We have another game. Would be the Bengals, my upset special last week, who beat the Minnesota Vikings. Kirk Cousins, non-vaccinated Kirk Cousins. And I just haven't mentioned that. And then the Chicago Bears losing to the Los Angeles Rams in Los Angeles. Now, mind you, the Bears quarterback, Andy Dalton. Oh, stop laughing. Andy Dalton's now the Bears starting quarterback. And stop laughing, people, really. Yeah, I know. All the Chicago Bears fans, they want Justin Fields on that field. I would put him on the field in this game. Why not? You're playing the Cincinnati Bengals. Now they're better. I mean, Burrows looked great. Chase caught a touchdown, LSU connection last week, and the Bengals look good. Mixon looked great. This is going to be a tough game. Chicago Bears are at home. They always play tough at home. I think they'll really play the Bengals tough at home. It's an early morning game. I'm still I'm not a big Bears believer. And if Andy Dalton starts, I'm giving this to the Cincinnati Bengals. I think the Bengals will be 2-0 after the end of this game, and then the Bears will have something to think about who's the next starting quarterback, and I think it will be Justin Fields after their second loss of the year. The next game is the Houston Texans going into the Cleveland Browns. The Browns are 5-0 in games following a loss under the head coach Kevin Stefanski, And I just don't see Cleveland losing this game. The Houston Texans played the 1-16 Jaguars of last year, and the Jaguars just showed the Houston Texans on why the Jags went 1-16, and they annihilated the Jaguars, but they will not do the same to the Browns. The Houston Texans will lose to the Browns in this game, and it'll be like around 12, 14-point loss. The Browns will go off. The Browns really need OBJ. They need him. They really need him coming back. And I just don't understand this OBJ. He's one of those players that, he has his stub toe and he won't play. He's so, prima donna. And they need to trade him. They really do need to trade him. He's just not all that. He had one good year. Was it 2014, 7 years ago? And he hasn't had a good year ever since then. And he's never been on the field more than, 15, 16 games after that season. So they really need to get rid of him. He's been holding down the Browns. They need to pick up another premier wideout, like a rookie, or something, trade. I would trade OBJ big time. So I'm giving the Browns that game. The next game, we have the Saints going into the Carolina Panthers. New Orleans has won 4 straight games against the Carolina Panthers. Now, mind you, Carolina Panthers didn't have McCaffrey last year. They didn't have Sam Darnold last year. They didn't have a lot of the players that they have right now. And the Panthers played all world last week. I'm going to give this as my upset special of the week. My upset special of the week is the Carolina Panthers defeating the New Orleans Saints. And mind you, I have the Raiders over the Steelers. That might be a little upset, but the upset special of the week is the Carolina Panthers beating the New Orleans Saints in Carolina. And that's how I feel on this game. Now, we have the Minnesota Vikings with Kirk Cousins, unvaccinated Kirk Cousins, going into Arizona and playing the Arizona Cardinals. We have, we have 8-time Pro Bowler Patrick Peterson facing his former team for the first time. And did the Cardinals look great last week? I had the Cardinals on my my defense and one of my fantasy leagues. I have 50 fantasy leagues that I'm in. I'm a nut. I'm nuts. But that's beside the point. And the Falcons, they look terrible this year too, don't they? I'm looking at the Falcons, my next game, and they're ugly. Did they play ugly last week? But anyway, let's get back to the Cardinals. The Cardinals look great, and Kyler Murray looks like one of the games, like a video games, like he bops one way, bops another, and he's just great. Kyler is just great. He's all world. And the Vikings are going to suffer their second loss of the season. And they're going to be 0-2 after this game, and the Cardinals are going to be 2-0. Hats off to the Cardinals. They'll beat the Minnesota Vikings in this game. It'll be closer than everyone thinks. I think Minnesota will fight back in this game, and they will have somewhat of a good game, but I think the Cardinals will end up winning this game, and it's the Cardinals over the Minnesota Vikings. The next game, we have the Atlanta Falcons going into the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady is 8-0 record against the Atlanta Falcons, including the playoffs, including the Super Bowl, right, guys? Wow, that was a great game. Tom, they're going to... Rojo last week, he made that fumble, and then he sulked on the sidelines, and he didn't go back in. And now... this is kind of cool. Arian said that he's going to drive Rojo down the teeth of the Atlanta Falcons. So, I mean, Rojo is going to run. He's going to get over 100 yards, couple touchdowns. If you have Rojo in your fantasy league, play him this week because that's what the Bucs are going to do. They might just stick to the ground and just try to grind out the game and have a low-scoring game. I think Tom Brady will have a couple touchdown throws, but I think Rojo will have a couple touchdown runs, and the defense will have a touchdown against the Falcons as well. It's going to be like 35 to 17, maybe 17. But it's going to be a pretty much of a blowout game. The Buccaneers over the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons, the losing Atlanta Falcons 0-2. And did Kyle Pitts, did he do well last week? Not well at all. So, man, you never take a rookie tight end in your fantasy football. You never do that. You just don't, because they usually don't do as well the first year as a rookie, as a tight end. And then the next game, we have a great game. We have the Tennessee Titans going into Seattle. Seattle. My good friend Giselle Loren, who lives up in Seattle, and she loves that team. And, the Seahawks look great with Russell Wilson and DK Metcalf and Carson. They looked really good last week. They really looked good. D. Henry and Carson both rank top 5 in rushing yards in 2018. Both of those guys. That was like 3 years ago. So I think Carson's back as well. So I think this is going to be one of those games where both teams are going to try to run the ball and control the offense. And I think Julio Jones is going to go off in this game. I thought he was going to go off last week, but the Titans just played terrible last week. This is going to be a different week for the Titans. I think the Titans are going to really play their type of game, and it's going to be a close game, but it's in Seattle. I'm giving this to Seattle Seahawks. I have to give it to the home team on this one. Seattle Seahawks over the Tennessee Titans by like 3 or 4 points. The next game is going to be a great game, guys. This is at a 1:25 p.m. at SoFi Stadium. The Los Angeles Chargers against the Dallas Cowboys. Now, Los Angeles has won 4 out of 5 games versus, the Chargers have won 4 out of 5 games against Dallas. And everyone thinking, Dak Prescott's so great and he did so great. He's going to have to really score a lot of points because that Charger team is a great offensive team. And they held another team to only, a few points last week. Now, mind you, the Chargers are really good, and they have that great defense, and they're young, and they know how to attack. So I'm giving this one, believe it or not, I would love to see Dallas lose. But I don't think they're going to lose this game. I think Dak Prescott is really that good, and I think he's going to come through. And I think this is why he's making $76 million this year. I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to win their first game of the season against the Los Angeles Chargers. But mind you, the Chargers are 4-5 in the last 5 games. They've won 4 out of 5 games. But they're not going to win this game. It's going to be the Dallas Cowboys beating the Los Angeles Chargers. The next game is a Sunday night game. Sunday night games are great games, and this is going to be another great game. We're going to have the Kansas City Chiefs going into the Baltimore Ravens' house. And that's going to be interesting because Mr. Brown is on the Chiefs now. They traded him, one of the best offensive linemen in the league. They traded to their nemesis, Kansas City Chiefs. And the Ravens, I mean, they have that one running back, Williams, who was a practice squad running back, and they have a few more weapons. They have Sammy Watkins. They have downtown Hollywood Brown, Mr. Andrews, who signed a $56 million 4-year extension with the Baltimore Ravens. So that's interesting. And Lamar Jackson, I mean, he did well. He did really well in the Monday Night Football game. So hats off to Mr. Lamar Jackson, keeping that team close. Made some great plays. This game is going to be, one of those games. The Ravens usually play the Kansas City Chiefs tough. Their defense, they usually play tough. And Kansas City's, I think they're just too good. And I think the Ravens are going to go 0-2 after the end of this game. I'm giving this to the Kansas City Chiefs over the Baltimore Ravens in this game on Sunday Night Football at M&T Bank Stadium in the Baltimore Ravens. Now, Patrick Mahomes is 11-0, 35 passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions in his career in September. 11-0, people. 11-0 in September. Patrick Mahomes. I think he'll be 12-0 at the end of this game. So I'm sorry, Baltimore Ravens fans, you're going to lose to the Kansas City Chiefs in this game. The last game, people, we have the Lions. Lions played out of their minds last week, coming back on the Nicky's Niners, the 49ers. And hats off to Jared Goff. Hats off to the Lions not giving up. DeAndre Swift looked awesome. Jamal Williams looked great. The Lions literally looked good. They did much better than I would think they would have done. But the Packers are playing against the Packers team who just got pissed. They're going to be pissed. They were annihilated. They were embarrassed by the New Orleans Saints. They were embarrassed. And they should be ashamed of themselves for playing so terribly against that team. So I'm giving this game to Mr. Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers at home against the Lions. Now, Aaron Rodgers is 8-0 record at home on Monday Night Football. 8-0, people. Yeah, he deserves the applause on that one. He's unstoppable. He's like Patrick Mahomes, 11-0 in September. 35 TDs passing and 0 interceptions in September for Mr. Patrick Mahomes. And, you have to go on those records. That's how you call games. You have to know these kind of things. You got to know who's hurt and who's not. And then you have to go on a limb and say, I think this team is going to win, even though I see the record the way it is, like the Los Angeles Chargers, seeing the record of 4-5 games, 4-5 in the last 5 games. They've won 4 games against the Dallas Cowboys. It's in SoFi Field. It's going to be a high-scoring game, but I really think that Dak Prescott's going to pull it out. Stuff like that. You just have to know things, and you have to know history, of everything. Let's look at tonight's game, the New York Football Giants. Evan Ingram is going to be out, like I said, on the Giants. He's hurt again. I just don't get it. You have Colin Johnson as a wideout. You have the cornerback Josh Jackson, Sam Beal, Justin Hilliard, Cam Brown, Quincy Roche. All these guys are hurt, and that's not good. I think it's going to be a good game. I really do think tonight's game is going to be a really good game, and you just have to be aware of what's going on in the NFL and what's not going on in the NFL. Now, mind you, Eric Bieniemy not wasting time thinking about the USC job. He said, "I'm here where my feet are." That means that he's he's definitely thinking about the job. Urban Meyer said no way, but what can you do? What can you do in that one? What about Tom Brady? Tom Brady, I'm playing until 50. In 1 year, he'll be 45. And he says this. They asked him a question today. What about Tom playing until you're 50? And this is what Tom's answer is. I think I can. I think it's a yes. I love Tom. He's so great. And then what about Mr. Kelsey? He debuts that beautiful blonde hair, with that dark, beard, he's got the bleach blonde hair. I love it. I love it. I guess it was Jason Kelsey, it was Jason Kelsey debuts blonde hair. Not Kelsey, the tight end of the Kansas City Chiefs. Sorry. He after losing a bet to Zach Ertz, he had to dye his hair blonde. It was kind of a funny thing. Now, Fitzpatrick, on the other hand, Ryan Fitzpatrick's hip, his ops for rehab instead of surgery, expected to miss at least 8 weeks. Boy, that's bad. So, Cam Newton's available, for Washington. I think that would be a great fit for Cam. It would be the Washington football team. That would be a great fit for them. That would be phenomenal. And so, anyway, that is the whole entire Week 2 I went over. And let's go over really quickly. My picks. I'm picking the Washington football team to beat the New York Football Giants on Thursday Night Football. And I'm also picking the New England Patriots to beat the Jets, the Broncos to beat the Jags, the Bills over the Dolphins, the 49ers, Nicky's Niners over the Philadelphia Eagles. The upset special of the week would be the Indianapolis Colts over the Los Angeles Rams. The Raiders over the Steelers. Now, mind you, that's a minor upset. I think the Bengals are going to beat the Chicago Bears in Chicago. The Browns over the Houston Texans. And this is another massive upset. I have a few upsets this weekend. And I think the Panthers are going to beat the Saints this weekend. I really do. Panthers over the Saints. And the Cardinals over the Vikings. Vikings will all be 0-2. The Tampa Bay Bucks over the Atlanta Falcons. And the Seattle Seahawks will beat the Titans. And the Cowboys will go into Los Angeles and SoFi Field, and they will beat the Los Angeles Chargers. I hope I'm wrong on that one for Los Angeles' sake. But like I said, I don't have a favorite team. But for my home team, I guess, I live in Los Angeles, so, I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. I think the Dallas Cowboys will beat the Los Angeles Chargers. And then the Kansas City Chiefs, because of Patrick Mahomes' record of 11-0, 35 touchdowns, no interceptions in the month of September. They're going to beat the Baltimore Ravens. And last but not least, Monday Night Football game. Mr. Relax, people. Relax. Mr. Rogers will win this game. Thank you, and thank you. This is Calvin Dean signing off for Thursday Night Football. See you next week, everyone.
Thank you, Ben. Say what, you got a pretty car. You always seem to get